Guys, DM here with cleaningcashflow.com, and I am going to show you today my automation system. So this is talking about when a lead first enters your funnel, they could call in or they could book cleaning or whatever, and how I nurture that relationship depending on where they're at. A lot of people use automation, obviously. This is just my 2 cents. As you know, with everything I do, it's not legal advice. It's not the best. I'm not the smartest person out there. I'm just trying to show you guys what I do to make my life a little bit easier in regards to growing clients, recapturing leads, and trying not to let the leads go to waste. So let's get right into it. But the other thing too I was going to say is this might be somewhat of a long and tedious video because I'm just explaining, all the processes on my computer screen here. So I grabbed one of my favorite drinks. It's a Lagunitas something easy. So if you want to grab a drink, you should hit pause, whether that's coffee or tea or a beer or wine. And then let's do this. So I'm going to show you without my face on it, because sometimes when I record these videos, there's a lag time between my speech and what you see on the screen, and I don't want that to be a distraction for getting the flow of it. So, oh, and this is the, right here, the screen we're on, it's Cleaning Cashflow's website. So this is the actual shop page. And then at the bottom, for one of the things that I have available for purchase is the 14 nurturing emails and to recurring clients package. So that shows you specifically the 14 emails that I use to try to keep a culture alive with my recurring clients. The intention is that it prevents them to solicit from cleaners, helps them better understand our culture of working with independent cleaning professionals so that they feel a clear boundary between our agency and the cleaners and themselves, as well as try to upsell other services that they might need through the year. So it serves those three purposes. And actually this video that we're doing right now comes from Crystal, who wanted to see a more in-depth look on how I do my automations. I'm not going to go into all of the emails of the campaigns, of all the automations that I'm going to show you, but I will tell you about the intention and purpose so that you can build your own. I might take some time to create like this that you see here with the 14 nurturing emails down the road, but for now I just want to show you the whole system that I use and like different triggers on how to make that for yourself. Okay, talk to you later. Use Active Campaign to run my emails, and I use Zapier or Zapier. I should really figure out how they pronounce their names so that I can tell you, since we're going to be talking about it a lot today. So anyway, this software helps trigger actions between softwares, and I also use Excel spreadsheet. So those are the, excuse me, I actually use Google Sheets. So those are the things that I use to create my automations. And then I want to show you kind of like a little chart about how it works. So obviously there's going to be three main phases of an active client. They're either going to be a new lead, they would have already booked a one-time clean, or they would have booked a recurring clean. And then there's the passive phases, which is when I would say you're working on someone and they've canceled a cleaning, so they're not actively have something going on with you, but you still need to reach out and communicate to them to try to get them back on active, or they canceled recurring. So if they're a canceled customer, either a new customer or a recurring customer canceled, there's action steps that you want to take to move them from passive to active. And then in the orange, you see long-term nurture, and so that's more passive also. They're not, there's no booking, there's nothing happening right now, but you can easily bring them back to the booking one time or the booking recurred. So those are the phases. And then you can kind of see I put a goal, right? So for the new lead, if a client was a lead called in and they didn't book yet, but you have their contact information, then you're going to want, the goal is to convert them to a booking customer. If they booked a one-time cleaning, of course, your goal after their cleaning or even during this process is to convert them to a recurring client. And then if it's a recurring client, then your goal is to maintain culture with them, upsell to them, request referrals from them, and keep them for a long time. If a new lead comes to us and they never go make a booking, after the sequence is finished as a new lead, it will spit them into long-term nurture. And the goal is to convert them to booking. If they booked a one-time clean, after that, I'm going to try to convert them to recurring. But if enough time passes and they don't convert to recurring, I'm going to spit them into long-term nurture as well. And then the booking recurring clients, I'm going to upsell and build culture with them. But if they ever cancel, over here, I'm going to try to get them back as a recurring client, but after some time of trying, that doesn't work, boom, I spit them back into long-term nurture. Same thing, if a new customer booked either a one-time cleaning or recurring service, but they're a new customer, I'm going to try to recapture them for some period of time, but if I don't, boom, they go back into long-term nurture. So the long-term nurture is kind of my catch-all after I've tried to gain them as a customer or regain them as a customer, as an active customer. So that's the little flow chart. So let's go and take a look at what this means. So here's my Zapier page. I think it's got to be Zapier because otherwise there'd be two P's. So we're just going to go with that. So on Zapier, let's see, gosh, these are kind of not in order, I think, but these are all my Zaps. So when let's see, any new ongoing booking, new customer, one time, new lead. Okay, let's go with this one. This is how they enter campaigns usually. So through Zapier, what'll happen is when a lead calls in or emails in where I can capture their email address, I actually create them as a customer in Launch 27 because currently Launch 27 doesn't let you store leads. So I just store them as a customer. And of course, to me, a customer who actually has a booking then is a real customer, right? So here you can see that we enter in a new customer, but really this is like a new lead. And the Zapier will, when that happens in Launch 27, it will trigger an action to create that person as a contact in my active campaign, which is what I use to send all these automated emails. And in Active Campaign, it's also going to create them as a new deal. And a deal for me, the way that I use deals in Active Campaign is it's kind of like a work board. You know, it's creating a task. So this is creating a deal or a task for my virtual assistant to contact this new lead through the different phases of the points of contacts. And then it's also going to add that contact now into this automation of a new lead. Oop, here's my little head. Let me move my head for you. And then it's going to add that contact as a row in a Google Sheet so that I am tracking all of my new incoming leads and where they come from. So that is how Zapier works. That's my first trigger. So let's go ahead and look at it on here in Active Campaign where I sent the leads to. So so then this is where it would spit them, is convert leads to booking. So we're going to click into this to go see the automation process. And while we wait for my super slow computer, I'm going to have a sip of my beer. Okay, so once they go into here, something that's important to remember when you do automation is to unsubscribe them from all the other things. I usually do from all lists or all other automations because I just don't want them getting mixed messages if they accidentally ended up somewhere that they shouldn't be. Then I subscribe them to the leads list. Then it tells it to wait for a day, and then it sends them the first email about trying to convert them into booking and cleaning. Then it waits 2 days and it sends them another email. Then it waits 1 day and it sends them a text message. It waits for 3 days. It sends them another email. 7 days, sends them another email. So at the end of the sequence, they will be spat into the automation for leads and one-time nurturing automation. This is kind of like what I was telling you earlier, where when they exhaust this sequence, then they need to go into my long-term nurturing campaign, and then it ends this automation. So what I'll show you is if we go into leads and one-time nurturing campaign, let's see if we can go there from here. No. Back to automations. Leads and one-time nurturing campaign. See, again, I'm unsubscribing them from the other list. So originally they were in the leads list. Now I'm unsubscribing them there, but then I'm subscribing them to the sales leads and one-time list. So you can separate it however you want. I just keep my sales leads and one-time list all together because for me, my message to them is the same. You can select different messages for different groups. You can say, hey, you've used us before in the past, therefore, blah, 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 blah. So you would want to separate that with leads, whereas, you were interested in our services, but never gave us a try. We'd love to give you a shot. So if you want to split those up into 2 groups, you totally can. For me, I'm just group them into one. So I then exit them out of any other possible automations that they could have potentially been in or been in by mistake. And then I have people in different queues. So these queues are set up for, oh, and now that I'm in here, I actually have to look at this again because this looks like there's a potential error, but it waits for the certain month to come. So this is a monthly campaign. I just send it January 20th, February 7th. So every year, no matter the year, on February 7th, they're going to get an email. You could set it up a different way. You could probably do the first Monday of the month or whatever. I pick certain dates depending on the promotion that might go into. So for example, February 10th, I'll send one for Valentine's Day, or, different holidays. I'll send them like April 20th. I'll send for spring cleaning, that kind of stuff. So anyway, this is the long-term nurturing campaign, and they'll never go through, exit out of here, because at the end, on December 15th, we're going to cycle and start over again on the January 1st email. And I'm okay with recycling emails from year over year. So going back to automations here, let's go to Zapier and see what other triggers I can show you that might be cool. I wonder if new ongoing booking might be a good one to show. Let me go look into here. So let's say this trigger is by a new booking created. So if a new booking is created on launch 27, then it will also trigger us to come into here. Now, a new lead or a new customer and a new booking could be happening simultaneously. So if someone goes in and creates a booking right away, but they've never used you before, then this will also do the other trigger that we just did, which is a new customer, and this trigger, which is a new booking simultaneously. And so here I have it, let's see, I say continue if it's going to be in every weekly, or if it contains the word every or weekly in the frequency field, then continue. So it's filtering out for recurring clients. So if they booked a recurring job, then it is going to go into active campaign, and it's going to do something. Oh, add them to the recurring clients list. Okay, and then it's going to delay for only 1 minute. And this is because I want the first one, which is the new lead, new customer triggers that I showed you in the first place, to happen first, and then this to happen after. So that's why I added the 1 minute delay. Then it's going to add the contact into the automation sequence called recurring clients. It's also going to create a spreadsheet row on my Google Sheets to show me I've gained a new recurring client. It's going to then delay for until that first cleaning occurs. So I've set it up where now at this point it waits until the first cleaning date happens, and then I will create a follow-up call for my virtual assistant under the deals category, under the support task. These are things that I've created to make a support call follow-up to make sure that the client was happy. And then I'm going to filter even further and only continue if this person came to us via a referral from a friend. If so, I'm going to also create another task for my virtual assistant to send both this person and the person who referred them, and I will go find out in Launch 27 how they heard about us, and then give them a $50 gift card to our agency for both of them. So this is all happening on its own, automatically, triggered by different events that eventually, as in essence, started with a new booking for a recurring client. So I kind of want to come over here and show you the recurring client right here. So if the client does go into being a recurring client, they actually exit all the other automations, and then it waits for 5 days because they're getting a lot of emails at this point. I don't want to start right away because they're getting confirmation emails from Launch 27. They're getting all sorts of reminder emails, terms of service emails. So we wait for that to pass. They actually get spat into here, and then we start their email campaign. Now, the first one I'm sending here is Refer a Friend program. I may have switched the order of this from when we showed it last time, but I wanted that first because if they're in the hype and they're really excited about the service they're about to get or just got, this is a great time for them to refer a friend or realize what the discounts and offerings that we have. So then they wait for 20 days. So it's usually between 20 to 25 days in between each email. So this is intended to be approximately every month as well, in terms of the email that we send to them. And just to kind of, read off some of the topics. So how I should prepare for my house cleaner, same cleaner, better results, explaining why it matters having the same cleaner each time. This is to build culture and to stay with our agency, striving for quality of life, 5 neglected areas in the home that should be done. You could guess that's for upselling. The why behind Dash, which is my agency. So, building company culture, building loyalty and goodwill with clients. How much should I tip my cleaner? This is actually good for the client because they ask this a lot, but also is this to promote for cleaners as well, that, if they are getting tipped through our agency, we might have better clients for them and they'll stay longer. It also shows them how to send gift cards for house cleaning in less than 5 minutes, etc. So going back to my automations, so that's the gist of how the automation sequences work. You can see that I have pretty much 6, which are the same ones that I demonstrated here. I have 6 categories of automation sequence for new leads, for people who've booked a one-time, those who've booked recurring, those who've canceled as a new customer, those who've canceled as a recurring client, and then the long-term nurture, which is where I dump everything in the end of all of the sequences. Something else to note, that they can go to and from each sequence. So for example, if a client booked a recurring client and they're now a recurring client, right? And then they cancel, so they jump over here to canceled recurring client. If they're in this time slot, if they're in this sequence and then they decide to rebook their recurring service again, it'll spit them back into book recurring, and then the messages will be different. Or if they canceled and then they eventually went to long-term nurture but went back to being a recurring client, that'll come here. So all of those are the things that are triggered through Launch 27 using Zapier to cause changes in active campaign. So You guys get the gist of it. As far as what the emails say inside of them, that's really up to you and the kind of message that you want to send. Like I said, I'll try to upload more email options in the online store at cleaningcashflow.com's shop. And so when, keep a lookout your for that. Also, if you haven't already subscribed, I would recommend subscribing because every time I upload something new to the store, you can subscribe here. Um, Whenever I upload something new to the store, it sends an email notifying everybody that something got added. So right now, there's only the 14 nurture emails to recurring clients package where you can see all the emails that I send to them, but I don't have the other ones available yet. Another sequence that I would recommend you having is active cleaners. So I actually have, when a cleaner candidate is onboarding with our agency, once they've been accepted, then they go into this sequence. So the purpose of this is to, again, instill culture, try to reiterate that we are not taking a percentage out of their pay, but that the client is paying them a percentage and paying us for our services for our a different percentage, so that it's clear to them that we're not taking something from them. It also let's see. There's ones where I ask for them to refer another cleaner, 5 reasons why cleaners love working with an agency. So those are by month as well. And I highly recommend that. I almost even recommend, I haven't really done it yet, but I do keep all of my cleaner candidates emails on file, even if they don't make it. But I like to manually send an email a few times a year asking for referrals. So they've been interested in our agency, they weren't able to register, maybe they didn't have enough experience at the time, or they didn't want to, or they got full with their own schedule, so they didn't move forward. I just like to touch base once every few months to say, hey, we're still looking to recruit more cleaners. If you want to continue your application process or reapply, or if you can recommend someone to us, that would be great. Anyway, so on this page, I wanted to show you something a little bit different. That's not really part of the customer email automation process, but it is part of my automation process for efficiency. So you remember when I was over here talking about how I create deals? Like, for example, if somebody, a follow-up call, right? I want to make a follow-up call after the first cleaning. So over here, that would come into my deals. It would come into my support task. So this is my task board that my virtual assistant will work on each day. And when someone books a new cleaning, the day after their first cleaning, there'll be a new task populated automatically here through Zapier, and it will say follow-up call here. And actually, this is to adjust something that's a little bit deficient in the Launch 27 software. So it says follow-up call and adjust recurring time, because right now the first cleaning in a biweekly sequence, for example, will take a lot longer than the future visits, but Launch 27 doesn't account for that. So I'm actually telling my VA to go in there and manually adjust the recurring times for future visits while you make that follow-up call. Here, someone was a referral. Ashley got referred by another client. So this is telling the virtual assistant to verify who referred her and to verify that her cleaning was in fact completed, then send a $50 gift card to her and her referral. So once it's done, my VA can click into this deal and then mark it as won or lost. Like if it didn't work out for some reason. And then you can even add your own deals on here. So this is just a task board that my VA uses. If a client was to book a cleaning online and has not been assigned, this will pop up here as an automated deal. through Zapier, and it will say assign cleaner, and then they would click into that to make sure that essentially at the end of each day, the goal is to have 0 deals left in urgent. And each one of these should have been task received as the task came in. You need to assign whether it's for later, if you're waiting a reply from a customer, or waiting a reply from a cleaner, if you just need to follow up on this later, or if you need to escalate it to management. So over here, task received and especially urgent deals, I'd love to see that the VA has completed, the virtual assistant has completed by the end of the day. I want to show you my recruitment pipeline, and this one I really love. I have a different VA who helps with recruitment processes, so I'll have a separate video for this as well to show you my automation process for recruitment, but mainly when a candidate submits a cleaning inquiry form, it auto-populates them here into form submitted, and then it will be up to my VA to move them over to, she's determined their qualification, she has sent them a secondary application email to request for their references, that they've been scheduled for an interview with me, and then the references have been checked, and then I've screened and made an offer, and then once they've accepted, we mark them as one, which will, once we mark them as one, that will automatically put them into that active cleaner automation that I showed you just recently. So this isn't really part of the customer stuff, but I really wanted to show you since it's within this software and it's something I think is super useful. So this is my last pipeline that I use. Currently I'm only using the 3, and by use I mean created and actively using. This doesn't exist by default in Active Campaign. You can create different pipelines, and then you can create different stages in the pipelines, and then you can either add these deals yourself, or you can use Zapier to automate adding deals here based on certain triggers and actions. So this is my sales pipeline. So when a lead comes in, they populate here, and then the VA who does sales is responsible for moving them through the funnels. And then there's also this one where I use as a wait list. So let's say the client is interested in booking, but we don't have something for them. I'll just have the VA hold them here with notes about when they want their cleaning so that we can not forget them in our sales pipeline. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. And I hope that was helpful, as I hope any of the content that I put out can be at least just an observation on your part on how another business owner does their duties. But if you have any questions or comments, you know where to find me. You can find me in the Facebook group that we're in, which is facebook.com/cleaningcashflow. And then, of course, you can find me at the company site, cleaningcashflow.com, and you can subscribe right here. Also, I just want to point out too the videos and blogs. So a lot of you guys who find me for the first time and you guys get so excited about the content that I'm putting out, I'm so grateful. But just something to note is that a lot of the stuff is stuff that I've published or talked about before. So if you just go to the blog page, you can actually read up on some of this stuff, and it's categorized by featured post is on top, but there's categories down here. So you can click the various categories to see the different posts that are available. And again, my computer is being super slow because I'm recording. One part of the new world entrepreneur about working online and using computers is we're so dependent on technology. I really need to get faster internet or a faster computer. So anyway, oh yeah, here's one of the newer ones. Top 3 automation software I use. Look at that. Doesn't that look familiar? And then, yeah, so you have your categories here. You can join the mailing list here. You can look it up by month here. This is stupid. Who cares what month I published what? You can't look at that and tell what you need. Look at the categories right here. So if you want to know more about me, there's about DM. Some of my favorite ones are the ones that I do on the featured post right here. So you can check those out at the very least. Anyway, that is all. I hope you have a fantastic day and I hope that this was helpful. Bye for now.